Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tony Talks, Get Up and Grow, where I have conversations with inspirational leaders, influencers, and change makers, people that aren't just doing well in life, but that are doing good in the world. So today, I want to share yet another great friend of mine that will be joining us. He is another one of my brothers in arms, another Tony Robbins trainer. He's actually the first Portuguese Tony Robbins trainer. I'm going to without further ado, I'm just going to bring him on. We're going to talk. It's Mr. Jorge Coutinho. What's up, my brother? How are you?
How are you, brother? All good. All good. It's a privilege. It's a pleasure to be here with you. So thank you very much for your kind invites to be here.
Of course, this has been a long time.
Especially from a Portuguese blood brother.
Yes, absolutely. For those who don't know, so Jorge was born in Portugal and lives in Portugal, right? And he's the first Portuguese trainer. I am the second Portuguese trainer. While I live in the United States, I was born in Portugal and I came here as a kid, and I've been here ever since. While I still have much of my family there, so I'm proud to have you on here. As a matter of fact, for all of you that may be watching that do speak Portuguese, and I've been saying I'm going to do one of these in Portuguese, even though I already did one with Marcos Rossi. I did one in Portuguese, but we're going to do one in Portuguese maybe tomorrow or on Sunday for the Portuguese audience, Portuguese and Brazilian audience, of course. So this is a conversation between not just Jorge and myself, but with all of you. So if you have any questions or comments, please chime in. We love to have the interaction with you guys. And today I'm cheating a little bit, right? I've got my phone here, but I am streaming also to Instagram for the second time. I did it yesterday for the first time until I get high tech and actually stream directly. I'm going to be doing it this way with my phone. So ask your questions, and we are live. So we have one of our other trainer brothers commenting here. He says,
Rich Waterman. Hey, Rich. Love you, brother.
What's up, Rich? What's up, Rich? Good to see you, brother. I'm sure I've seen this guy before. Yeah, you've seen both of us before. Haven't seen you in a while,
Indeed.
though.
Indeed.
Yeah. So, and Rich is over in England, and George is in Portugal. So, listen, obviously, we'll just talk a little bit about the situation that we've got going on in the world, right? How are things in Portugal? Obviously, my parents are still in Portugal, and most of my family still is. How are things with COVID-19 over there? I know that Europe got hit pretty hard too.
Well, I haven't been watching the news that much lately, but from what I know and from what I heard at the beginning and all that, well, first of all, I believe that we were very lucky because we didn't have the situation or the same situation as it happened in Italy and right beside us in Spain. It was dramatic. It was catastrophic. And apart from that, our government took the measures, I believe, that at the right time and way ahead of what other countries did. So although we have a little bit more than 1,100 deaths from COVID, and we have to say that we have been in this for 2 months now. So it has a very low death rate. And right now, I think we are in 20,000 or 25,000 people with COVID. So the economy, of course, went dramatically down. Everything was locked down for 3 weeks. We started to open slowly this week, but most of the economy is still stopped. Restaurants, small shops and all that are non-important are still closed. So it's gradual. I've been home for 2 months. Next week, 2 months that I've been home.
It's crazy. I mean, it's sad to say, the businesses that aren't important or aren't essential, because they're all important, especially for the people who own those businesses. There's a lot of people suffering everywhere, and there's going to be a lot of people needing a lot of help, which is why I continue to do these shows. And there's so many people putting out so much great content. Jorge, of course, and I didn't even intro Jorge. Jorge, aside from being properly intro you anyway, Jorge, aside from being a fellow Tony Robbins trainer, he is also a high performance life and business strategist and coach. He is the CEO and co-founder of B coach in Portuguese and in Brazil, rather in Portuguese in Brazil, but in Portugal as well. And he's also been a coach with the Tony Robbins organization for many, many years, which I guess you're not there now, but he's top shelf, top level coach in both English and Portuguese.
And Spanish.
And Spanish, as am I, in fairness, as am I. Actually, I was just talking to George, and I've been doing a couple of I've been on a couple of podcasts in Spanish in the last couple of weeks, which has really stretched me outside of my comfort zone. But it turns out I'm much more fluid than I gave myself credit for. So I'm excited to be tapping into the South American market as well. So with that said, the skills that we've been learning, and one of the conversations that I've been having with our fellow trainers and our fellow coaches and everything else is that what's happening in the world right now. There's so many people in so much need, and it's going to continue to be that way. This is really what we've trained for, right? To help support people in their time of need, to give different perspective and everything else. So that's why it's such a perfect time for you to come on today, just to have a conversation with us. And I'd love you to tell the audience a little bit about your story, because you came to be really talk about life happening for us, and what happens in our life really shaping us into becoming the men and women that we are, right? The impactors that we are. And obviously, the name of my movement is Get Up and Grow, right? Because it's not about how many times you fall, but it's how many times you get up. And sometimes the things that are down the hardest are the things that force you to grow the most and become ultimately who you were destined to be. So Sandy Lancar says hello, by the way. Here she is on screen.
Hey, Sandy. Good to see you.
By the way, if you go on the top right hand corner of your screen, you can also see the live comments.
Okay. So there now.
Just a little cheat there, because I'll put them up on the screen anyway, but this way you can also catch them in case I don't pull one up in time. So tell us a little bit about your story and your life.
Yeah, of course. Well, I was, as I normally say, I was very blessed to be introduced to pain on a very early age. And what I mean is pain, it's not physical pain, it's more emotional and psychological pain. I grew up in let's say in a typical Portuguese family, where later on my teenagers, I started to realize that it was not that normal, meaning there were some concepts about the relationship that were not being lived and respected by my parents. Not that they didn't want it to be like that, or they only didn't know how to do better. The way that they loved each other, the type of relationship, it was a toxic relationship. And of course that brought up some context around me when I was growing up. And then I was bullied when I was a kid. I was small, I was chubby. At that time now I use glasses for the computer and all that, but at that time I used to wear glasses, so people would bully me about my glasses, my body, all that. And then later on, myself went through a couple of toxic relationships. I also lost a friend to suicide. I myself was very close to committing suicide 10 years ago, 11 years ago, when I was on my lowest on my financial area. And then I would say that the ultimate pain was when I lost my daughter of 5 years to cancer 6 years ago. So, but when people start to listen about this, man, what is this? But actually living with pain and going again through a tough childhood and then bullied and a lot of stuff that happened, it was kind of a preparation. It was going into a gym and do some weightlifting.
Right.
So, and I was blessed to, as you, to be part of an environment where I started to get to know more about me, what was blocking me, what was the trash that I was holding to from my past, started to realize about the power of focus, the power of meaning, and that brought me to my personal power, right? Realizing that, okay, it's not happening to me, it's happening for me. What are the decisions that I'm making? What other decisions can I make as regards to focus, meaning, taking action and all that? And because of that, when my daughter was diagnosed with cancer 2013, and it was like that, one day she was perfectly fine, happy, healthy, as every child should be, and next day a tummy ache, we go to the hospital and we have a stage 5 kidney cancer, just like that, 2 to 4 weeks if the chemo doesn't work. And that's when you really need to look at your life and the choices, and you have to decide, who am I going to be now? Because now it's real time. It's real time. So now it's time for you to decide, how do you want to react? How do you want to go? Or how do you want to go out of this? One of the things that I had very clear on in my mind from day one or day zero was, okay, so there are 2 scenarios here. One, she will get over it, she will win, she will be healthy again. And the other one is she will not go through, so from day one, immediately, I had that very clear in my mind, and I was prepared. I was, okay, if she dies, I will go over it. That was I would say, a conscious decision that I took. I said, this will not kill me. This will not be the end, from day one. But of course, I laid my focus, my will, my emotions, my beliefs, my faith, my hope, everything was, okay, she will win. Okay. But on the other hand, I had that in my mind. This can also happen. And actually, it's something that we need, or we should have, every single day, because we can be talking here right now, and I don't know. Yeah, something can happen. That there were people that they were going on holidays, they went into a bar, they took a beer or something, and next day they started coughing. Oh, I got something strange. It's a flu. No, it's COVID, and boom, they're gone. Because this type of things can happen. When you go through pain, and when you start to realize all these things, what it brought to me was the real concept of gratitude, the real concept of life is a gift, the real concept of you have a decision, you have a choice. No matter what happens with you, no matter what will be your decision, will be your result. So decide to take charge, decide to own whatever happens with you, and with that, you are taking and you are using your personal power. And again, it's not about, and we know this, we are in an environment where we hear this every single day. It's not happening to you, it's happening for you. And theoretically, it's very easy to understand. Practically, when something like what we are going through right now, and there are people that they are losing their jobs, losing their companies, they lost loved ones. When a situation like that happens, it's when you are called, okay, now it's like, okay, show me. Now you have to show to life that it's really happening for you. And then you have to realize your actions, your decisions, your emotions, your focus, your meanings, and you need to take charge of your life, not realizing what might happen tomorrow, but what is happening right now.
Yeah. Well, that's so true, because so many times people aren't, listen, this caught everybody by surprise. And nobody could have been ready for it. Nobody could have been ready, because this is something that was completely offline. The reality of it is now there is a lot of pressure. And, you were talking about how, you lost a friend to suicide. And I just want to put that out there right now to everybody that is never a good option. There's always other solutions. There's always people out there willing to help, because unfortunately we are in a situation right now where there's a lot of people in a lot of pain. There's a lot of businesses that, because they're not essential businesses, they're closed. Well, that business is essential to their family and to their livelihood. So there's going to be a lot of people in a lot of pain, and there's, and unfortunately we're probably going to be looking at another epidemic of sorts, not a pandemic, but an epidemic of the fallout of this, not just in Portugal and the United States, but around the world, because this was a global shutdown that's affecting everyone. So I just want to put it out there, as far as the suicides and that sort of thing, because you're so right. Anything can happen to any of us at any given point. I just had a friend of mine die of a heart attack last Friday, 50 years old, and reasonably healthy outside of that. But there's also already people that are doing other things that are worse, and again, life is serious. Life is not always easy, but it's what we go through that makes us grow. And, be an example, stand for what you've got, stand for who you are. You're stronger than you think.
Yeah.
Bob, I think it was
way stronger.
Bob Marley, I think, is the one that said, "You never know how strong you are until being strong is the only choice you have." So be strong.
Indeed.
Now's the time to stand strong. Now's the time to stand and be there for the people that need you, because somebody out there needs you, right? Somebody needs you, and you need to be the best that you can be. Unfortunately, when pressure comes on, comes on to people, what comes out is really what you've been prepared for, right? You drop down to your lowest level of training. So reach out to someone who maybe has already been through some difficult times, without getting too much into the whole suicide prevention part. But that is going to be, unfortunately, a hot topic. Unfortunately, I think so.
It was already, right? It was already.
Yeah, it was already, and this just made it. This just, I think, has accelerated that, unfortunately. So let's just be conscious of that, and just stay in touch with people. Stay in touch with those that
Ask for help. Ask for help. Get out of your head. Get out of your head. When you are in your head, and we make things bigger. And this happens with me. This happens with you. Even, I believe, with Mr. Big Guy Tony Robbins himself. He has bad days, because we all have the same emotions. We all have the same patterns. And when we are in here, we see things different. And sometimes only by ventilating, only by open your mouth and saying, what, I am thinking about this, I'm feeling this, just by listening to it, sometimes you go like, really? Come on. No, it's not as bad as that. Or if you go out to a friend, if you go out to someone that you love, that that cares about you, and you give him, because asking for help, it's not a sign of weakness. And the guy that is telling you this was the guy that believed it exactly like that. I used to be a guy that would help everybody, but never ask for help, because I saw asking for help. Yeah. Again, I was saying that we all ran the same patterns. Why? Yeah. Because my hallucination was, if I'm asking for help, it means that I'm weak. No, when you are asking for help, it means two things. One, you are being vulnerable, and vulnerability is your biggest power. Vulnerability is your biggest power. And number two, you are giving the gift of being helped. You are giving a gift to someone, like, okay, this is a gift to you, help me. Because we humans, we love to help. When we use this word, can you help me? People tend to, oh yes, of course, because this is what we do. This is what we do, This is, helping is in our DNA. So when you don't ask for help, you are denying this gift. So ask for help. If you are in a bad day, if you are going through a bad phase, ask for help. I was today, thank God, I'm not rich, I'm not a millionaire, not even close, but I have an abundant life. I live in an abundance of love, an abundance of friends. I have an abundant life right now, but I know what is to not have money in your bank account. I know what is to go to a supermarket with your credit card and praying that I hope it will go through. I hope it will go through. I know what is going like this and say, oh, it's not going through. Oh, can you please take that out and let's try only with this if it will go through. I know that, And again, Right now, I can go into a supermarket. I can pay for my bill, for the bill of the person next ahead of me. But I was there, and it doesn't mean that I will not go there again. But what I know, and the other day I was talking with a friend about this, and actually an example, two friends from high school, actually from college. One went into a life of being an entrepreneur. He was very successful in life. He has a couple of business, couple of investments. He has live money on a bank that allows him to live for the next 20 years with the same level of life next 20 years. We have another friend that didn't go into an entrepreneur or as an entrepreneur. He was on corporate. He reached a high level on a corporation, CEO. He left 6 months ago. He said, George, and we were having this conversation at a little bit before Christmas. You know what? If I want to create something by my own, I'm 43 now. It's time. So I'm leaving. I'm picking up all my savings and I'm investing in this new business. He made everything right. A correct business plan. It checked a risk involved, everything. When he was about to launch, COVID came. COVID came. So I talked with both, and the funny thing is, the one that has 20 years was in panic, like, I'm going to lose everything. And I said, man, you have live money in the bank. Yeah, but I'm going to lose all the investments. And so what? You will build them again. You will build them again. The other was, George, I don't know if I have 1 month to pay all my bills and to bring food home for my kids. But one thing I'm certain, they will not starve. I will not lose my house. I will make a way. I don't know how, but I will make a way. And the funny thing was that he said, I don't know how. And it's not about the how. I will make a way,
Yeah.
And again, we all have bad days. We all go through tough things, but it's about asking for help, and it's about what you believe that you're capable of.
Absolutely. Believing in yourself is the most important thing, and really living in abundance, because what your second friend did is living in abundance. The one who has the abundance is living in scarcity. They say that and I'm trying to think of the actual saying, but it goes along the way some people struggle so much to keep the money, and then to make the money, then they worry about how they're going to keep the money because they're afraid of losing it. So it's at neither point are they really enjoying their life, right? You've got to enjoy and live. We're all abundant, man. And obviously in some places in the world, it's obviously a lot harder than others. So we're fortunate to live in places where we can be abundant and that there is true abundance.
Absolutely.
Abundance does not exist. And we're very cognizant of that and sympathetic to that as well.
Just look at this, the abundance that you have in a piece of equipment like this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Everything. I mean, listen, we've got
abundance of communication, abundance of resources. You can make a video, you can edit, we can communicate, we can research.
Yeah. Here we are 3,000 miles away speaking like we're next to each other. And we are. Look, yeah. You're right there. Yeah, technology is amazing, and people have been commenting on here that who's blessed with abundance and who had a hard time asking for help. The reality of it is, don't be ashamed to ask for help. I was that guy too. I was the guy that was always helping everybody and wasn't asking for help. And I too have found myself in a position of struggle, in a position of difficult moments. And when I reached out for help to somebody helped me, and that's why I'm here to help other people as well. And, and we've all been
exactly the same as me.
Yeah, we've all been through the dark, brother. And I know you've been through the dark as well, which is why we've got that, we've got light to shine. And for those of you who are out there that are struggling, you're not broken, that you think you're broken, you're not broken. Some of us are cracked. This is true, but that's where the light shines out of, right? Our light shines from within out because of the cracks and because of the difficult moments that we've been in. And what you said was beautiful about giving someone the opportunity to help. to help you, because so many of us that don't want to ask for help, we're the first ones to help. So I share this story sometimes. So you see there's a tree line just over my shoulder. Just past that tree line, I remember last March, it was almost a year, actually. It was a little over a year. It was March of last year. You know, I was on the phone with somebody, and they offered me help on something. I'm like, no, I'm good, man. I'm good. He's like, dude, stop being an ass. I'm like, what are you talking about? I said, you know, I'm offering you help. Just take it. I said, no, but I don't want to put you out. I said, stop. You're being an ass. It was a little bit stronger word than that. And I said, what are you talking about? He says, you know how you feel when you help somebody, that hit a dopamine, that feel good, you know, that you feel good because you help somebody? I says, yeah. Well, why are you depriving me of that? Because I want to help you and you're depriving me of that. And he said, you know what's more is, you know, you feel good when you help. And when you say no to somebody that wants to help you and can help you, not only are you robbing them of that, but you're blocking the blessings that are coming to them for having helped you. Man, it hit me like a lightning bolt. It hit me like a lightning bolt. And I was standing just on the edge of those trees. I remember exactly where I was standing. So ask for help. There's people out there that are willing to help, that are ready to help, that want to help and have the ability, the knowledge, sometimes the financial resources to help. There's a lot of great people out there. So ask for help is really where
absolutely. And also remember, and I have a guy just behind me, you know, Luke Skywalker. Look at him there. We have to remember that there is equilibrium in nature, in the world, in the universe. And when we have a very dark side, and I know what is that. I had a very dark side. Again, I grew up from pain, in pain. I was used to live with it. And myself, again, hurt people, you know, and I was hurt and I had the tendency to hurt people. But one thing that really struck me hard was when I realized one very simple thing, because when we look at nature, we see shadow, we see dark, right? If we go outside right now on those trees, there is a big shadow, depending where the sun is coming from. But the shadow is the same size of the light that is behind it. So when you are looking at your shadow and when you are looking at your dark side, of course, you are only seeing because you are on this side, but you need to turn your face to the other side and turn your face to the light. Because if you have a big shadow, it's because you have a big light behind you. You just need to shift and focus on your light. And we all are beings of light and shadow. And it's like, again, we have day and night. We have water and fire. We have opposites. Everything in life is a paradox. We have life, we have death. Actually, I see life and death in a different way. I see life as what is between birth and death. So my hallucination is death is not the opposite of life. Death is the opposite of birth, because life is what is between your birth and your death. Okay? So, but again, everything in
right?
life. Pardon?
It's the dash.
Yeah. So
born in 1972 and, you know, expired in 2072.
Yeah. That's the opposite. You know, life is what happens in between. And what happens in here, you are fully responsible. Okay, man, I was abused. I was this. I lost money. Yeah, you know, and it happens. There are people that they come to me and say, you know, George, I don't understand. How can you be happy like that? Because it's not fair it's not right to lose a child. And I say, is that written in somewhere? When you were born, someone gave you a contract, rules about what is right and what is wrong in life? Did someone tell you that this is right, this is wrong, this is fair, this is unfair? No. You know, life is an experience. Life is an experience, and there are great things in the experience, and sometimes there are not so great things, and it's about living the experience. It's, you cannot change, you cannot. I would love to go back, um, and in one other hand, if people would ask me right now, George, would you like to go back and change something in your past, I would say no. And people go like, how can you say that? What kind of father are you that wouldn't go back and change what happened with your daughter? And then I say, you know why? Because it's part of my story. And I use my story to inspire people. And I receive daily, weekly, monthly messages of people that saw a podcast, heard the podcast, saw an interview, watch one of my talks online. And because of that, they decided not to commit suicide. They decided that they lost also a child, but that they could be happy again. So maybe the mission of Leonor, the mission of my daughter, was to touch lives, was to inspire me, that I could inspire and save other lives. So what is one death compared to the lives that were saved? I would be selfish. I would be only thinking about me if I would think like that. Of course, it hurts me every day not to have her. It hurts me every day not to think. It's funny, but it's not funny. But when we were in Germany in her last month of life, on one of the last days, we knew already that she was only a miracle. We wrote like a note of what would be a dream. And my dream was to take her to the altar, as her father. And I know that it will not happen. And that, just that by itself, when I think about that, hurts me every day. I have to control my state right now, not in order not to start crying. But what can I do? I can blame life, I can blame God, I can blame doctors, or I can use my story. And there are days that I can use my story. I feel inspired. I have a good day. And there are days that I feel like shit, pardon for my French. And what I learned from life, it's not about those shitty days, because this is like nature. Again, you have beautiful sunny days and you have storms, you have hurricanes. It's about being okay with those shitty days. It's about you knowing, okay, today I feel like crap. I'm an emotional wreck, but tomorrow there will be another day. Tomorrow the sun will come out. Tomorrow it will be another day. And sometimes what I've realized over the last times is that every time that I have a bad day, it's when I go into my ego, it's when I go into my shadow, into the dark side of the force, if we use the Star Wars metaphor. And when I go there, I bring something better from me. I get to know me more. I get to know my ego. I get to know my dark side, what takes me there. And the funny thing...
Yeah, listen, your shadow is part of you. You can't have light without dark. You can't have pain without love, right? Sweet without sour. So the contrast of the pain that happens in life is the pleasure that we have, and the impact that we get to make, we make because of the things that came into our lives. Your story is so powerful because Leonor came in. She was your catalyst, brother. She was your catalyst. Oh, yeah. She was the one that came in to make you the man that you needed to be.
Absolutely. There is a George before her, and there is a George after her.
Without a doubt. And you know what? It's just funny. I didn't even make this connection, but yesterday I had on another amazing soul, Scarlett Lewis, which is one of the Sandy Hook moms from Newtown, Connecticut, that lost her son at 6 years old. And sharing some stories and the legacy she's leaving of the impact she's making in the world is not unlike yours. The impact that she's making in the world by saving children and teaching emotional intelligence to kids. And, much like Leonor would tell you so many beautiful things, and that would, at 5 years old, that you would like, what the heck? You're 5 years old. What are you saying these things? So Scarlett's son would leave notes and left notes that day for her brother and for her mother, for his mother, like kind notes, like to the brother, hey, make sure you have a lot of fun. And left another one to leaving messages that children don't leave, right? And she was the catalyst for her, Jesse was the catalyst for Scarlett to go out and be the change in the world. And Leonore was your catalyst. So that was, listen,
absolutely.
I believe that we all have a purpose in life. And her life was 5 years. Your life may be 105 years, maybe 65 years. Who knows, right?
We don't know.
Our dash, going back to that dash comment that I made before, it's the dash.
Yeah.
You've got to make the most.
It's the dash, absolutely.
How wide or how short it is, it's that dash, and it's up to us to make the impact. So it's a beautiful message that you're sharing, brother.
And it's also about, it brings you to your spirituality. It brings you to the way that you look at life. Again, I look at her life, and you said it beautifully and nicely. She lived more in 5 years that some people don't live in 100 years. Right. In 5 years, she touched people. She inspired people. Rich just wrote here, there is a Rich before Leonore and a Rich after Leonore. And it's totally true. I got a new brother, you know. I got, you know, people. I got to be able to share, to experience things that I would never be able. She lived her life, and I look back, and we had conversations, we had experiences that makes me believe, again, that there are people that they are blessed with a very old soul, a very wise soul. And they come to this life, again, just for a final touch, just for refining something and to leave something behind. And this was Leonore. I truly believe that she was brought here with a purpose to inspire, to touch, and to go back home. You know, it's amazing that, and I believe that you know this, in her story in Portugal was quite popular. She was on media, on magazines, on TV and all that. And today, it's still amazing that 6 years after, I go into, you know, a group of people at dinner, and we start talking about people, and people go, "Oh, do you have kids?" And I pause for 5 seconds. It's not because of me, but it's that I know that the impact will be strong. And I go, "I had," and people go, "Oh, sorry, no, it's perfectly fine. No, I used to have. I had a beautiful girl. She died 6 years ago, and you might have heard about her. Her name was Leonore, and she was known as the Pink Princess." And they go like, "You are the father of Leonore?" So it's amazing that 3 out of 4 out of 5 people that I know, they knew her story, and they were inspired. They were touched. Something changed. They started to look at life in a different way. They started to be better parents. They started to be more grateful. They started to, just because they saw something in my girl. So
she was a catalyst, man. She was just a little angel that came in to impact the world in her own way.
So it's my biggest blessing when people say, "Man, don't you believe?" And sometimes I still, not that often anymore, but sometimes I still hear that, "Oh, don't you believe in God and all these things, but don't you believe that you were kind of punished or cursed?" And I say, "Me? No, I was blessed." I was blessed because, you know, we are 7 billion people in the world, and I was the one chosen to be her father. I was the one that lived the experience. She inspired people all around the globe. I was the one that saw her being born and left this world. I was the one that spent, like you beautifully said, time on her dash, you know. So this is a blessing. This is not a curse. This is not being punished. No, this is a blessing. This is a blessing, you know. But again, it's all about meaning, and it's all about choices. I decide to believe like this. There are people, and unfortunately, I experienced some other parents that lost their child more or less around the same time. And some of them, they still live in suffering. They still blame the doctors. They still blame God. it's a choice.
Yeah. Well,
it's a choice.
That's why, again, that's why we all have to grow through what we go through, man. Because if we don't, then we keep living in that misery. We keep suffering the pain that happened. Again, listen, I can't imagine the pain that you went through, right? Pain is part of life. Suffering is a choice, as
absolutely,
right?
And what I learned, it's not about going through, it's about growing through.
Yes. Yes. Well, that's thank you for sharing that, because I say that, we've got to get up and grow through what we go through. Otherwise we keep going through it. And until you grow through it, you keep going through.
Absolutely.
Reliving it. You keep reliving the pain. You keep reliving the agony. You keep reliving the suffering. That's why, again, you got to get up and grow through what you go through. Otherwise you keep going through it. And look, and again, your story impacted me so much when I first, obviously I met you before that happened. But, and I was with you through a part of that. And it was so impactful to me and to the rest of our, Tony Robbins family, and certainly, everyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. And our family, our chosen family, our extended family, Tony Robbins family, they were real peers. And Rich is, it's one of the examples. I called Rich. I was just a brief story. I was in London. I was just finishing delivering a training there when I had a call from Leonor's mom, and it was when we knew that she was terminal. And I was in London. I had like 2,000 euros in my account at that time, and there could be like a miracle in Germany, and I needed like 30,000 or 25,000 euros. And I didn't have it. So the first person that came into my mind was Rich, and I texted Rich, and Rich was on his way to Euro Disney with his family. And like, I think Rich, and you tell me, because you made it happen, I think it was like 3 or 4 days after, I had in my account 40,000 euros in donations from the Tony Robbins family. So I am very blessed that I was able to give a final month in a way that she didn't have to go through physical pain, and that we could have some hope, some faith that there could have this, this little small thing. And she passed away, but we know that we did everything. And I thank that to you, to Rich, and to all our family that had, again, it was asking for help. The old George would never ask this. Say, you know what? I'm gonna steal, I'm gonna kill someone, I'm gonna rob a bank, whatever, but I'm not gonna ask for help, And again, it's the beautiful thing of asking for help. And I know that everyone that in one way, with €1, with 1,000, 2,000, 150 euros, whatever, they now look at their lives and they know that I made something. I helped a little girl that was going through pain, and I did something, And so I'm very blessed. I'm very thankful. Brother Rich, thank you. Love you. Cry baby. Rich is saying that you made me cry baby. You're a cry baby, brother.
Yeah, well,
love you, brother. Thank you. You are in my heart for that.
Yeah, and you just brought me back, and I just want you to share, one of the, like, some of the parting words that some of the unbelievably wise words that she shared with you, at the end, that you shared with us on occasion.
Man, there are so many stories. I will bring one story, and it's about something that changed my life, and I believe that it's life-changing for everybody. And it's a story about gifts, about forgiveness and compassion. So this happened the night before her first surgery. She was going on surgery. They were thinking in removing one of her kidneys, the one that had the biggest tumor, and our mom made up a story. And the cancer was, we call it the little bug. A little bug was cancer. So, and since day one, so we said, Leonor, you have a little bug inside of you that we need to take care, and we need to, and the little bug is making you this, is making you feel pain and all that. So she knew that she had a bug inside of her that was that the cause of her not going to school, losing her hair, going through chemo, going through pain, needles, all those things. So, and the night before going into surgery, I was telling her a bedtime story, and Leonor was quite keen about bedtime stories. And I used to tell her the same story. So we knew it already both. And she would go in the middle. Oh, now the prince will do this and the princess will do like that. And that night she was very quiet. I was telling the story and I was looking at her and like, And then I ended up, I said, okay, so let's go to sleep, honey. And she goes like, Daddy, tomorrow the doctor will open a window, because that's the way that Mom explained to her that the doctor would go open a window, and through a window would take the bug out and she would be okay. And she was, so tomorrow the doctor will open a window in me, right? I said, yes, honey, but no worries, it will go fine. Yeah. She goes, yeah, I know. I came out of a window from Mommy's tummy, right? And I said, yes, right, exactly. You see, so it will be perfectly okay. And then she starts to go like, really, like, And Daddy, what about the little bug? Because they will take the bug out of me. What will happen to the bug? Will he miss me? Will he have someone to take care of him? Will he be okay? So imagine the compassion that you need to have, because you know that you have something inside of you that is causing you pain, that made you lose your hair, that totally changed your life, and you have the forgiveness, and more than that, the compassion to be worried about what will happen to that bug that is causing you pain and totally transform your life. And this for me was like absolute compassion and forgiveness. So I was someone, again, I used to be very hard to forgive. And that was the biggest lesson in my life about forgiveness and about compassion. It's when you have something that is hurting you and you are able to care about it and say, Dad, what will happen? Okay, now you can say, oh, she was 5 years. No, she knew that she had something that was causing her pain, something that made her go in contact with needles, with things that she never went through, isolation, chemo, radio, and she was caring about it. What will happen? Will the bug have someone to take care of him? So this was one of the many things that Leonor inspired me, touched me, and made me who I am.
Yeah, so many stories. So many. I remember you told me the one about, said, well, talking about the beach. Remember the one?
Oh, yeah. That's another one. That's another one.
It's a cute one that, it just, yeah.
Yeah. I can also share that. It was in June. She was just coming out of a very hard chemo, and she wanted to go into the beach. She loved sun, and we live by a sea, and she wanted, and I told her, honey, you cannot go. And she was Leonor was very stubborn, like very driven. No, but I want to go. I want to go. I said, honey, you cannot go. And then she came up with something else. No, can I go to the cinema, to the movie? Said, honey, again, you cannot go. And she was very upset. And then it was going into the park. She was going after things, after things, after things, after things. And then we got home. And she looked at me and said, Daddy, why don't we go to the beach at home? And I said, what? Yeah, why don't we create the beach at home? So, and apart from everything that happened with me and her mom as a couple, her mom was an amazing mom. And her mom created a beach in a living room. We moved all the furnitures. We laid down a carpet that was like a sand. We lay down something as a water. We brought everything that we used to take to the beach. We brought water in. We brought things. We did a beach at the living house at a living home. And then at the end of the day, she had this Facebook group, and she asked her mom and said, "Mom, can I record a video? Can I leave a message to my friends, to my Facebook friends?" I said, "I'm sure." And on that message, she said something that I have tattooed on my arm, so that on the bad days I can come here and I read. It's in Portuguese, but it's a metaphor of a 5-year-old. And she said something that in the day of tomorrow, I want you to be happy, even if you can't go to the beach and you can't play in a sun. So it's a beautiful metaphor, a simple metaphor of a 5-year-old soul that it was about being happy. So if I can't go to a beach, I will be happy and I will create my beach. So
yeah, that was beautiful. That one is stuck with me. That's the one I was getting at.
Yeah.
You know,
so someone is asking for a picture of my beautiful daughter. Yes, I can show. I have a book. Give me just a second. I'll pick up. It's a pleasure.
Thank you, everybody, for jumping in and for listening. Hey, Rui, what's up, man? Hey, vamos fazer em português. We're going to do it in Portuguese.
Let me see. Yeah, that's my angel. That's my baby angel.
Beautiful. So listen, I want to go back now and honor. I had asked for questions before, so I'm just going to highlight this one. Wendy says that her 38-year-old daughter threatens suicide all the time for years. She moved out to LA a few months ago to see if she can help. She doesn't take any action. She lives a party lifestyle, uses chemicals, then returns, and her mood drops and is a handful. She's cried very much over the last 8 months. She's overseas now for 2 months in quarantine with family, which helps. I hope as her nervous system has had a chance to rest and reboot. What's something that you can say to Wendy that may be able to help? You know, it's difficult. It's a difficult situation for sure, especially at 38. She's not a child anymore.
Well, yeah, there is. Recently, I came across a quote. Let me look here and see if I can find it. And again, we as parents, we always want the best for our kids. And there is one thing that we need to realize, and this is quote from Hippocrates. And let me see. Here we go. Before you heal someone, ask him if he's willing to give up the things that made him sick.
That's so good. So good. I love that.
So I know that we as parents, we love our kids. And we as parents, I would give my life to save my daughter, of course. But we need to realize that there are people that they are addicted to the victim state, because we need to understand that we all have a victim state. And this state, sometimes we use it as a way to receive love from our parents, our family, everybody, because there is one equation in our brain that comes from the time that we were babies. So let's remind ourselves that the way that we had to express and ask for love when we were little babies, when we had our diapers with poo, when we were wanting to have our milk, when whatever, we cried. We expressed pain. And when we express pain as babies, we receive attention, affection, and ultimately love. So as grown-ups, sometimes we run that equation thinking that if I express this, I will receive love. And the more we give love when they express this, the more we are feeding this victim state. So the truth is that we cannot help anyone if they're not willing to be helped. So they need to stand and say, you know what? I need to change. No more. No more. You know? So
that's so true. You really cannot help someone who is not willing to help themselves. All you're going to do is drive yourself crazy. And, you know, it's difficult, you know, obviously, especially, you know, it's your daughter, Wendy. Liba actually.
Oh, and actually funny, I call it not coincidence, but God incidence. Wendy just said that she is a certified Hippocrates Institute health educator. Wow.
Huh, how about that?
You know, I call it, I don't call it coincidences. I call it God incidences.
So, you know, it's, listen, just give her love. Liba says, she said, just give her love and just pray for her. But the reality of it is, she's just going through a cycle that she has to go through, you know, and hopefully she'll come out of it on the other side and come out of it on the other side. So we'll keep her in our thoughts and prayers for sure.
Absolutely.
Rich Waterman, let's see. He says, with a lot of people focusing on their finances right now, could both of you share what the shift in both of you was that enabled you to create wealth? Good question, Rich Waterman.
Great question. Coming from Rich, it could only be like that. So my situation was shifting from an abundance of scarcity to, or shifting from a mind of scarcity to a mind of abundance. So I came from a family that my father, as a young boy, was very poor, and he passed me with some beliefs about life, like life is hard, money is hard to get, we need to work hard to have money. So, and I lived part of my life like that. So in situations like this, when we go through pain, we need to change. It's like Mr. Tony Robbins says, either you change your life conditions or you change your blueprint. And by changing your blueprint, by changing the way that you look at money, by changing the way that you believe about what you deserve, you know, and sometimes it's very important what you deserve. You know, do you deserve abundance? Do you deserve to live an abundant life? And unfortunately, most of us, we believe that abundance is saved for some. Some people are the, I don't know, the ones that were chosen to live in abundance. No, you choose to live in abundance. And again, when I talk about abundance, it's not about having X amount of figures in your bank account. There are people that they have billions and they live in scarcity. And there are people that they have only a few bucks and they live in abundance. And wealth comes from abundance. So if you want to live a wealthy life, you first need to create an abundant life. Abundance of thoughts, abundance of beliefs, abundance of emotions, abundance of positive energy. And that is something that is created day by day. We need to remember ourselves that our brain is designed not to create wealth, is designed to create protection, to keep us safe, to keep us alive. And in order to create wealth, to create abundance, you have to take risks. And your brain doesn't like that. So your brain rather wants to have you, oh, stay here, stay on your comfort zone. Don't take that risk. Don't do that, because you know what? You might lose. And so we need to take charge of our decisions or our beliefs and put dreams into reality. There are people that they dream to live abundant lives, but they only live in their dreams. You know, it's time for you to get out of your dream and make it real and realize that you deserve, you are abundant already. You just need to start manifesting. You just need to start manifesting that.
You know how to achieve your dreams? Get up, get out of bed and go chase them down. Right?
There you go.
You can either stay in bed and keep dreaming, or you can get up out of bed and get after it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm down with that. And I'll say, and I'll answer that as well. And just say that it really has to do with that scarcity and abundance and what your relationship is with money. Because much like you, George, actually, Monique here was asking if we were brothers because we look like brothers. We're from another mother. We are.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Mother country of Portugal for sure. But we could almost be brothers because of what you were told as a kid. Life is hard. Money doesn't grow on trees. You got to work hard. Life isn't easy. Life is tough. So the relationship that I had with money was not a good one.
Me too.
You look at wealthy people, and they were the bad people that they must be rich because they hurt the little people to be able to get that money, which is not true. Granted, there are people that do that. So you grow up thinking, I don't want to be one of those bad people, right? I don't want to be one of those bad people. So your relationship to money is broken, and you need to kind of correct that. You need to understand and really come to terms with what that is and what that means, right? So I think when I made that shift, and when I also made the shift of deciding to get out of my comfort zone, because many of us are doing well in life, or we're doing okay in life, and we say, oh, we keep hitting this glass ceiling. We're not hitting a glass ceiling. That's our own belief system of how much is enough and how much we shouldn't have. Oh, well, who am I to say that I deserve more than that? I don't want to be one of those, rich assholes or whatever it is. I do, because you know what? The reality of it is, the more you can earn, the more the money you have, the more impact you can make. Because everybody says, oh, they want to do this, they want to save the rainforest, they want to save this, they want to feed the hungry, they want to do this. Guess what? It takes resources. So fix your relationship with money so that you can attract those resources into your life, so that you're not struggling to make every dollar that comes your way. I've done that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
I'm not saying it's easy, by the way. It's not easy.
Absolutely. And money, wealth is just a magnifier, it just magnifies who you are. If you are inside of you, if you are someone that likes to help, that likes to support, that likes to share with others, money will just magnify that. You will share with more people, you will help more people, you will contribute more. So money is just amplifies. Money doesn't transform you. There's this say, no, money gives you power and power will corrupt you and all that. It might happen, but again, if in the inside you have good intentions, money will transform those intentions into great intentions, into huge intentions, into gigantic, to legendary intentions. So it's not about money. It's not about what we are going through right now. It's about your choices and about what you will do. It's about your choices, what you will do about money. It's about your choices, what money will transform you. And you need to remember that you have power. You have your personal power. It's not about money. It's not about your life conditions. It's about what you are doing with it, period. And just to put something else more there about Rich's question, it's really about taking the time. There are lots of people that they went in panic with all this, or they froze, So right. It's really about making you think about what you are doing with your money. The first thing that I did when this thing struck, it was April 12th, when my first day at home, and I said, Monica, things are going to change. And for 10 days, I watched news, I read a lot about COVID. And then I said, you know what? I said 2 months minimum that I know that I will not have any turnover on my company. 2 months, things will stop. And then I started to make my numbers. I looked at my personal side. I said, okay, what are our bills? Okay, this is okay. This is the amount of money that we need every month. It's okay, honey, let's put our savings. Let's see how much. Okay, good. So we have this many years ahead of us. Great. And then I started to look at the company. Okay, so what are the costs? What can we cut? What can we not? Okay, great. Now, what can I do? I started doing lives. I started doing some live trainings. I leveraged all my digital things that I had. In 1 month, I was able to create what I was planning for 1 year. You know, why? Because again, I decided I stopped. We don't stop, you know, in a situation of crisis or in a problem, we don't stop to think. And this I learned from our good old friend, Mr. Keith Cunningham. Thinking time, you know, stop and think, analyze, decide. So stop, think, decide, and then take action, you know, because if we don't stop to think and to decide what to do different, you keep doing the same things. And if you keep doing the same things, guess what? Same result.
Absolutely. You're going to get something else. That's the definition of insanity, right? So yeah.
According to Mr. Einstein.
That's it. So listen, so to put a last bit on that, just get out of your comfort zone and know that you're worth more. And you know, and if you know your worth, go out and get it. You know, go out and make an impact. And if you can help somebody with whatever problem that they have, that's how you're going to get ahead. You know, that's how blessings are going to come in your life.
Yep.
So, and live an abundant mindset, because living in scarcity is going to do nothing for you. People say, oh, what, you've missed a positive? What's that going to get you? I don't know. A lot more than negative is going to get me. You know, even if great, I'd rather be happy and I'd rather be happy and during a time of struggle but rather than be sad. I say it all the time. I'd rather laugh with the sinners than cry with the saints. I'm just saying. Tries my mother.
Absolutely.
So listen, I want to be respectful, man, of your time. It's already been a little over an hour, and obviously respectful of everyone that's here watching. Thank you, everybody, for your comments and for sharing.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, girls.
And if you haven't shared it, by all means, share it. You know, we are on Facebook and on YouTube as well. So George, you know, give us a couple of last words, and even before that, where can people reach you? How can people reach you?
Either on Facebook or on Instagram. It's my name, Jorge Coutinho 13, or via my webpage. It's my name, jorgecoutinho.com. So you can reach me on either social media or over my webpage. A final message. So what I've learned from life is, and actually I signed my email with a quote from a guy that had one of his books going sky high, Albert Camus. You know, he had a plague, and the plague started to sell. Everybody was buying that book, and he has a great quote that is something like that. It was in the middle of winter, I found within me an invincible summer. So the winter that we are going through will be substituted by spring and will be substituted by summer. And the way that you will live spring and the way that you will live your summer, it will be a consequence on the way that you are living your winter right now. So take charge of where you are right now, create the vision, create the goal, the result, see it, and develop the faith, the hope, the love, and the strength within you to get there. Because from my experience, from the experience that I have from life, working with clients, it's really like this. It's not about what is happening right now outside. And again, I understand that there are people that are losing their loved ones, losing companies, being fired. I understand that, and I'm very sorry about that. But there are people that even going through all of that, they will grow through. So grow through this winter. Don't just go through. So that would be my final message.
Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. So I'm just going to close it off. Don't go away. So everyone, thank you so much for watching, like I said, and for participating, for sharing. Please do go onto YouTube and subscribe to my channel and share this with your friends. And again, a pleasure having you, George. We're going to have
Thank you, my brother.
Of course, we're going to have another great show tomorrow. We're going to have Brian Bradley. He's our standing Saturday guest, Brian Bradley, and then again on Monday we've got Marketing Mondays with Scott Martin. So come back and join us. And remember, my friends, that life is not about how many times you fall. It's about getting up after every fall. If you fall down 7 times, you get up 8. And it's in falling that we learn. It's in getting up that we grow. And every single time you fall, you have the opportunity to get up and grow, because we
absolutely
must. Otherwise, we just keep going through it, right? So get up and grow, everybody. I appreciate you all. Thank you for watching, and good night. Ciao for now.
Good night. Ciao.